What if I told you that sugar isn't just a sweet treat, but one of the most addictive substances on the planet? Imagine something that lights up your brain in the exact same way as cocaine, something you probably consume every single day without even thinking about it. Cookies, sodas, your favorite morning latte with extra syrup, it's everywhere. Now imagine cutting it out completely. No candy, no chocolate bars, no sweetened drinks, not even those healthy flavored yogurts or granola bars. What happens when you stop eating sugar for 30 days? The truth is far more shocking than anyone talks about, because sugar doesn't just affect your weight. It hacks into your brain, weakens your immune system, damages your skin, and even changes how your body stores energy. This is the science nobody tells you, but today, you'll see it through the lens of a personal journey, step by step, week by week. The first day I decided to give up sugar, I didn't think it would be that hard. After all, I wasn't the kind of person who binged on candy every night. But what I didn't realize was how much sugar had secretly infiltrated my daily routine. That morning, when I reached for my usual cereal, I looked at the label and saw 23 grams of sugar in a single bowl. That's nearly the entire daily limit recommended by the World Health Organization. My healthy snack bar? 15 grams. Even the ketchup I loved with my lunch had sugar hiding inside it. By the time I added it all up, I realized I was consuming triple the safe amount every single day without even noticing. The first 3 days felt like a war inside my body. Headaches hit me like a hammer, I was moody, irritable, and strangely anxious. My energy levels crashed hard in the afternoons, and I caught myself fantasizing about grabbing a chocolate bar just to feel normal again. It wasn't just hunger, it was withdrawal. Sugar had been feeding my brain dopamine spikes for years, and suddenly cutting it off was like slamming the brakes on a speeding train. Studies show that sugar activates the brain's reward system in the exact same way as drugs like nicotine or opioids. No wonder my body felt like it was screaming for another hit. By the end of the first week, things started to shift. The headaches became less frequent, and my sleep quality improved. I used to wake up groggy, reaching for caffeine just to start the day. But without sugar, I noticed I was falling asleep faster and waking up with a clearer head. This is because sugar disrupts your circadian rhythm by spiking your blood glucose at night, making it harder for melatonin, the sleep hormone, to do its job. Once I cut it out, my body started to reset its natural clock. Week 2 brought something unexpected: mental clarity. At first, I thought it was just placebo, but the difference was undeniable. My thoughts felt sharper, like a fog had been lifted. I could focus on work for hours without the usual distractions, and my mood stabilized. Normally, my emotions would rollercoaster throughout the day, high after a sugary snack, then crashing into irritability an hour later. Without sugar, the ups and downs disappeared. My energy was steady, my concentration deepened, and I started to feel like I had control over my mind again. Neuroscientists explain this as the brain recalibrating its dopamine system. Without constant sugar spikes, your receptors become more sensitive, meaning you experience a more stable sense of well-being instead of constant highs and lows. Of course, not everything was easy. By week 2, cravings hit me in the strangest moments. Watching TV at night, I felt the urge for ice cream. Walking past a bakery, the smell of fresh pastries nearly broke my willpower. But every time I resisted, I noticed something powerful: I was retraining my brain. The cravings still came, but they were easier to manage each time. What once felt like an irresistible urge became just another thought I could let pass. By the halfway mark, 2 weeks in, people around me started to notice changes. "Your skin looks brighter," a friend told me. Another asked if I had lost weight. I hadn't even been focusing on dieting or exercise, but my body composition was shifting. The bloating I often felt after meals was gone, and my face looked less puffy. What was happening on the inside was even more dramatic than what people could see. Cutting sugar reduced the inflammation in my body, which not only improved my digestion but also gave my immune system a chance to recover. I didn't realize it yet, but I was setting myself up for a cascade of health improvements that would reveal themselves in the weeks to come. And here's the most surprising part: by the end of the second week, I didn't miss sugar as much as I thought I would. Fruit tasted sweeter than ever, and I started to crave natural foods instead of processed ones. It was as if my taste buds had rebooted. Scientists call this taste recalibration. When you eliminate added sugars, your palate becomes more sensitive to natural sweetness. An apple suddenly tastes like dessert, and plain yogurt feels indulgent. This was one of the biggest turning points in the journey, because I realized sugar had been numbing my ability to appreciate real flavors all along. The first half of the 30-day experiment was already transforming my life. I had clearer skin, sharper focus, better sleep, and more stable moods. But this was just the beginning. The real science of what happens inside the brain, the immune system, the skin, and the bloodstream over a full month without sugar was about to take the story to an even deeper level. As the third week of my no-sugar experiment began, the most noticeable transformation was happening inside my head. The fog that used to cloud my mornings was gone, replaced by an unusual sense of calm and focus. I started reading scientific papers to understand why. It turns out that sugar hijacks the brain's reward system by triggering dopamine surges. These quick bursts of pleasure desensitize your dopamine receptors, meaning you need more and more sugar to feel the same effect. When I stopped, my brain had to recalibrate. The first week felt like withdrawal because my receptors were screaming for stimulation. But by week 3, they became more sensitive again, allowing me to feel real, sustained satisfaction from simple things, like a walk outside, finishing a task, or enjoying a meal of whole foods. My attention span lengthened, my productivity skyrocketed, and for the first time in years, I felt fully present in my daily life. Something else remarkable happened: my mood stabilized. Sugar highs and crashes had secretly been pulling my emotions like a puppet on strings. After a sugary snack, my brain flooded with dopamine and serotonin, making me feel happy and energetic, but only for a short burst. Then came the crash: irritability, anxiety, sometimes even sadness. I didn't connect the dots until I quit. By week 3, my emotions were even, predictable, and calm. Research confirms this. Sugar intake is linked to higher risks of depression and anxiety because of its constant roller coaster effect on brain chemistry. Removing it gave me mental balance I didn't know I was missing. The effects on my immune system were just as profound. I used to catch colds easily, especially during seasonal changes. But halfway through my sugar-free month, I noticed I hadn't been sick at all, even though people around me were sniffling. That's because sugar directly suppresses immune function. When you consume a high-sugar drink, your white blood cells, the ones that fight off bacteria and viruses, become up to 40% less effective for hours afterward. Imagine drinking a soda and suddenly weakening your body's army right when you need it most. By removing sugar, I gave my immune system constant strength. I had more resilience, fewer bouts of fatigue, and I could push through long days without feeling drained. Then there was my skin. For years, I had accepted occasional breakouts and dullness as normal. But 2 weeks without sugar, my face started glowing in ways I hadn't seen before. My pores looked smaller, my skin tone more even, and my eyes less puffy in the mornings. Friends kept asking what skincare products I was using, but the truth was simpler: I had stopped pouring sugar into my bloodstream. Here's why it works. Sugar triggers a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins like collagen and elastin in the skin, making them stiff and weak. Collagen gives skin its firmness, elastin its bounce. Destroy them, and you get wrinkles, sagging, and premature aging. After 30 days sugar-free, I was slowing that destruction, giving my skin a chance to repair itself naturally. No cream could have replaced that. By week 3, my relationship with food had changed too. Without sugar, I wasn't constantly hungry anymore. Normally, after a sugary snack, my blood glucose would spike, insulin would rush in, and soon after, my sugar would crash, leaving me craving more. It was a cycle of dependence, not real hunger. But now, my meals kept me satisfied for hours. I could go from breakfast to lunch without needing a snack, and I felt energized throughout. I even noticed my clothes fitting more loosely. Without counting calories, I had lost nearly 3 kilograms. Not because I was dieting, but because my body had stopped storing fat aggressively. With insulin levels balanced, my metabolism could finally burn fat instead of constantly storing it. Perhaps the most important change of all happened inside my blood. For years, like many people, I had been unknowingly marching toward insulin resistance, a silent condition that sets the stage for type 2 diabetes. Consuming sugar daily forces your pancreas to pump insulin over and over, until your cells stop responding properly. The result? More insulin, more fat storage, more hunger. But in just 30 days without sugar, my sensitivity improved dramatically. I could feel it in the steady energy, the absence of sugar crashes, and the way my body seemed lighter, more efficient. Scientists have shown that even a few weeks without added sugar can reduce insulin resistance, lower inflammation, and improve markers of cardiovascular health. That means a lower risk of diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. By the final week, the experiment had turned into a revelation. I wasn't just avoiding sugar anymore, I didn't even want it. My taste buds had completely recalibrated. Fruits tasted like candy, and plain foods carried rich flavors I never noticed before. My brain had rewired, my body had reset, and I had learned something priceless. Sugar had been quietly controlling me, and once I broke free, I gained more than I ever expected. On the 30th day, I reflected on what I had lost and what I had gained. I lost cravings, headaches, mood swings, bloating, and constant fatigue. I lost the illusion that sugar was just a harmless pleasure. But I gained clarity of mind, stable energy, radiant skin, stronger immunity, better sleep, and a deep respect for my body's ability to heal itself when given the chance. So here's the question for you. What would happen if you stopped eating sugar for 30 days? Are you willing to endure a week of discomfort to unlock a life of focus, energy, and health? I can tell you from experience, it's worth it. This is not about punishment or deprivation. It's about freedom. Freedom from cravings, from hidden addictions, from the trap that food companies designed to keep you hooked. If you've ever wondered what your best self might feel like, the answer might be as simple as saying no to sugar. Try it for a month, and you won't just see the difference, you'll feel it in every cell of your body. And when you do, come back and tell me your story. I want to hear about your transformation, your struggles, and your victories. If this inspired you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share this video with someone you care about. Because the science nobody tells you is that you don't need sugar to live fully, you need freedom, discipline, and the courage to try. Your body will thank you, your mind will reward you, and your future self will look back and be grateful you made the choice. The next 30 days could change everything.